Hey, how come I don't have any merch available?
Oh, here we go again. It's all about you, isn't it, Ma?
Fuck you. You know everybody fast forwards to the end of the show to listen to me. No one listens to you guys.
All right. You want a shirt or something? Go ahead. Pitch me an idea.
How about an Angry Mom banana hammock? And whoever buys it and takes a picture of themselves wearing it and sends it to me, I'll even send them an autograph.
Mom, what the fuck?
It's time for another wrestling podcast.
Show about nothing. It's like Seinfeld.
I was literally going to say that. Why aren't you recording, asshole?
Yeah, I am recording. So.
All right, great. So this is episode 191, Credo. It's a show about nothing.
Wait a minute, I got to do my intro.
Fuck the intro. We're throwing the intro out, too. I'm not even going to say bitches.
All right.
That's how great this is going to be.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
In there, you asshole.
Welcome to another wrestling podcast. He said it. Episode 191. I'm Credo.
And I am everyone's favorite asshole, Angry Cooter. How is everybody doing this week? No, bitches.
There you go. Minority Mike. Parts unknown again, Cooter. What's happening here?
I don't know, man. He's a busy man, you know. He's Mike. What can I tell you?
Yes. I think, Cooter, a lot of people don't understand what goes into a podcast where, you know, we're not just like showing up every week and just guessing stuff, to where we have to kind of come with an outline. We know what we're going to talk about. We have things that we want to mention, so we put it in a nice little outline so that when we're talking, we have some structure, if you will. But Cooter, let's throw that script out of the window today, because it's just, let's take a step back. Let's
we had
that show about nothing. I mean, let's just talk about wrestling, and it doesn't need to be anything that's happening today or it could happen 10 years ago, whatever. Just talk, see what happens.
Well, I mean, after last week with the fucking weather that just knocked out my power for like 4 fucking days. So there's a lot of wrestling that I missed last week. And I've been doing so much because of that now that, like, I really didn't watch much wrestling this week either. And you know what? I was really okay with that.
No, and I think for people out there listening, you know, we're from the Poughkeepsie area, the Northeast, and we had a thunderstorm warning. When there's a thunderstorm warning over here, it's like, okay, it's a thunderstorm. Whatever. We're not going to go running away from it, but when you looked on the map, when you looked on the radar and you saw this thunderstorm coming, it was just like a solid dark red, like, that can't be good. So in our area, we had, I think, several tornadoes touch down in certain places. Yeah. Strong wind gusts, like hurricane force.
My backyard, motherfucker.
It was crazy, and it only lasted like a few minutes too, right? It was just a quick, semi-quick storm, and man, you'll be surprised how much power we lost. Like towns down, tree lines down, trees down on the tracks. I got stuck in the city. I had to find an alternate route home. It was chaotic, and it's like
the whole Hudson line got shut down, didn't it?
It did. I was on the train ready to leave, and all of a sudden they said they're suspending all the trains because the trees down. And I'm like, God. I am in the city. It's suspended means that ain't. And if you hear trees on the track, they're not just gonna go pick it up in a minute. So
should have just taken the Harlem line and got dropped off in Paulding, because literally as I walked out of work, right, I look up in the sky and I'm like, oh shit, it's getting dark. And if you see that like green tinge in the sky, like that's that surefire sign that, you know, there's possible tornadoes in the area. I'm like, I'm probably just gonna go next door. There's a beautiful bar called O'Connor's, and I sat in there for. The storm went through our town over there like maybe 10 minutes and it was done. But all you hear is sirens all of fucking Route 22 is shut down. There's trees down all over the fucking place. I'm like, well, it's the first time nobody yelled at me for staying at the bar all fucking night and not driving home, because I literally waited till like 10, 11 o'clock. By the way, I got out at like 4.
And there's no like warning to where it didn't sound like
hurricane coming through.
Oh my God.
There's no warning at all, no hurricane warning. But yeah, like I said, it was a storm. So that's what happened to us last week. That's why we weren't around. We had no power, and another wrestling podcast wasn't that important that week. So guys, but now we're back, and we don't, you know, we're just gonna talk about wrestling. But if you're staying tuned, we have the son of Brian Pillman, who is also Brian Pillman Jr. He's going to be on the show. We'll talk to him a little bit about his dad, what he's doing in wrestling, and where you can see him next. So stay tuned for that one. Brian Pillman Jr.
I cannot wait to hear what he has to say. I mean, his dad is probably one of my all-time favorites, one of the best characters ever. I mean, if he's a quarter of what his dad was psychologically and a quarter of what he was in the ring, this guy's going to be a star too, I have a feeling. I just hope he doesn't end up like a lot of these second-generation stars who just try to live off the name. But I got high hopes for this dude. Really looking forward to this one, Credo.
No, definitely. And like I said, I like that he's using his dad's kind of, well, it's his name too, but I mean, he's not trying to be somebody else and hide the fact that his dad was Brian Pillman. So that's what's cool. We'll see what he has to say, so stick around for that one. But Cooter, I went to Raw this week in Albany, New York, and
you suck.
I'm glad it was free tickets. I was glad it was free tickets. I didn't pay for it. That's what I'll say. Man, it's like literally I looked at my watch and it was 45 minutes into the show. The whole 45 minutes was Roman Reigns and then a tag match with Roman Reigns. 45 minutes this motherfucker ate up.
All right, who's in the tag match?
Okay, him and Seth Rollins, to where I feel like Seth Rollins is just the buffer right now to hide the booze from Roman. And Kevin Owens and Jinder Mahal. So, trust me, I love seeing Kevin Owens. I love seeing Seth Rollins.
What the fuck?
But man, they're pumping him down. Roman Reigns, they're just... It's 45 minutes, man.
Did you really say Jinder fucking Mahal? One of these things does not belong. What the fuck is that? Like, I got home, I turned it on, I saw Roman, and I said, you know what? I'm going to watch Supergirl. That's literally what I did. The only thing that I actually rewatched from Raw and the only reason I watched it was because fucking Virgil of all people, made fun of this fucking thing. All right, and that was the Bobby Lashley.
Okay.
What was his sister with fucking Sami Zayn?
I'll tell you.
That's right on par with Alexa Bliss's fucking "This Is Your Life" for fucking Bailey, dude. This was, oh.
And you know what's? It's funny because it's like I didn't have anything invested in his sisters. It's not like we've seen Bobby Lashley and his sisters for like months now. Now they're making fun of him or something. It was like they did an interview. He said some whatever kind of stories about his sisters just to get us on his side of like, oh, he's a good guy. He has whatever. They bring these guys out and it's like, I'm not even emotionally invested to give a shit about Bobby Lashley, let alone his fucking sisters yet. And they should have just had something else with Sami Zayn. Poor Sami Zayn. Guys, I know the E in WWE's entertainment, but that was not fucking entertaining.
Yo.
I mean, the guy next to me was like, "What do you think about the segment?" I'm like, "Well, I'm checking my Facebook. If that, I'm not even paying it because it's like, I don't care about anything I'm seeing right now."
Poor fucking Sami Zayn. And let me quote Virgil. I was supposed to be in the Bobby Lashley reunion, but I turned it down. #Raw. Seriously, if Virgil is saying that, that's how fucking bad it was. Because Virgil loves all things bad. And, like, I mean, I know it's a joke, but Jesus Christ, dude. Unfucking believable. Man, anything else good from Raw?
Okay, so then I was like, oh, Ronda Rousey's going to be here. I never, well, that's true. I was at the Raw 25th anniversary. She was there, but I mean,
you fucking interviewed her, bro. What are you talking about? You've never seen her?
No, I never saw. I was like, I never saw her on Raw. She didn't wrestle. It was a contract signing, so I was kind of hoping someone was gonna go through the table or something, because contract signings never go right. And she just moved the table and stared at her, and I'm like, fuck this. Like, come on. I'll tell you what, man. I think they're honestly gonna get that belt off of Nia Jax and just strap it on. Rousey, and I think it's going to be on her waist till WrestleMania, to where
I'm still waiting for you to say it, dude.
Well, what?
Waiting for you to say it.
What am I going to say?
Because you were fucking like texting me during Raw. Okay, and I vaguely remember you saying something along the lines of, "Oh yeah, I want to earn your respect. I don't expect to have things just given to me."
Yeah,
and I'm like, "Oh my god." I mean, usually I like to bitch at you for saying shit like that, but in this case, my God, you're absolutely right. She's made a handful of appearances so far. She's had one fucking match, and now her second match is for the title against Nia Jax, who was a girl we were like dying to get a title up, like a title run.
And it's second match solo. This her first match was in the tag team, so this would be her second match. And technically her first solo match. And it's like, how do you book that? Because honestly, we could just easily just have somebody run in, turn on her or whatever, then whatever. But then again, I'm telling you, no offense, Nia, but she ain't doing anything for that championship, I'll tell you that, to where there's nothing for her. I don't think there's no like somebody chasing her or anything with it. And it was just like, give it to Nia, and I feel like she's fell flat with it to where it's one of those things
they had her win the title, and they haven't had her defend it. She hasn't had any matches.
Nobody to go against. Yeah, it's like
they had her do these cheesy fucking interviews, like trying to turn her into a face. Dude, people like Nia. All you got to do is let her get in the ring and squash somebody. But, this is for all the girls who have been bullied and blah, blah. And now all of a sudden Ronda's in, so we just automatically turned her heel. I'm like, what the fuck is going on over here? Here's the other thing that's absolutely driving me nuts. And it's not just the fact that, you want to earn respect and all this bullshit. You're going to put the title on this fucking girl. Are we going to have another Brock Lesnar situation on our hands if she's the champion? Because, I mean, she's got all these fucking things that she does. I mean, she was off of TV for God knows how long. I thought she was supposed to be doing this full time.
Yeah, and it's so weird because it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't with her, to where if you don't give it to her, if you don't give her this championship or a legit win, what is she in the WWE almost? To where, it could end in a dusty finish where somebody interferes. Okay, that's fine. But if
in that dusty finish, I'm going to kill you.
If there is a finish, though, the both points seen, Ronda, I think, has to win. She needs something going. She just needs something, I think, to where she's got that name, man. She's popular around the world. And those ratings are slumping, you know what I'm saying? To where Nia ain't pulling in any faces. But if you're going to have a champion Ronda Rousey on the show every week, maybe that might pull in more people just to see what she does.
No. And I'm going to tell you what. You want to know why? If you were booking Ronda Rousey the exact same way you've been booking Nia Jax like shit, no one's going to give a fuck. Eventually, that star power is going to get you your attention. Yeah, she's a huge star. But if they're writing bullshit for her, it's no one's gonna care.
And well, here's the other flip side. So Nia Jax, okay, what if she beats Ronda Rousey? Yeah, it's a bump for her, but at the same time, did you just kill Ronda Rousey like coming into the WWE? I don't see them giving her a clean win though, too. Because here's the thing: people are arguing that she couldn't even beat Alexa Bliss in however long, to where she barely beat her. How's she gonna handle like Ronda Rousey kind of thing? So. Well,
here's the idea that you could go with. Here's the thing that you could fucking go with. Honestly, Alexa Bliss is a seasoned wrestler. Granted, Ronda Rousey is a great athlete, but you could always go with the idea that hey, she's a great athlete. She had a great fucking first match, but she's got a lot to learn. And this could be, hey, I say let Nia beat her. And let Ronda be like, fuck this, I got to work harder. Now you really do got to earn that respect. Because now you have something to go after. You want to get your revenge, and then you want to win that title. That's something I think that they should do. I don't think you just take that belt off of Nia. Build something. I mean, this doesn't have to be the payoff. The thing that I did like about the segment was Stephanie stirring the pot.
Yeah.
If that's one thing that Stephanie's always good at is stirring the pot and making this match almost have a reason to be happening, other than, Nia Jax challenged her. Well, you got Stephanie stirring that pot a little bit. It made it a little bit more interesting to where you got that heel turn out of Nia, even though I liked it, but I didn't like it, because of the heel turn. We just tried making her the face of this anti-bullying campaign, and now she's like, I'm gonna, whatever.
Okay, Cooter, how about this? Flip the script, though, and let's say WWE doesn't, go by normal protocol, and they make fucking Ronda the champion, make Nia Jax tap out. What do you do with her from there as a champion? How long does she keep it? Because I'm like, if they just run her dominant till WrestleMania, granted that's forever from now, but or even SummerSlam. I mean, that's the halfway point, kind of, but. What do you do if she does win it? Because, that was funny to where she wanted to earn it. She wanted to earn it in your first fucking match. You're going to win the championship. So, is she going to get heat for that? Or, how do you book her out of that?
That's the other problem. I think the SmackDown women's roster is 10 times better than the Raw women's roster. You got Bayley, but she's fallen flat. I mean, you have the Boss, but she's not exactly drawing in numbers either. Who do you have her? Are you just gonna have her run through some of these and I hate saying
Dana Brooke?
Yeah, you know what I mean? But not just that, but I'm talking about your Baileys and your Sasha Banks. It's almost like there has-beens already.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? They've kind of, once they were all done feuding with each other, these 4 horsewomen, where do you go from there? And it's like they've booked nothing for them outside of these programs. I mean, we've been having this Sasha Banks Bayley fucking semi-feud for Christ, prior to fucking the Royal Rumble, for God's sakes.
I know. So, other than that, though, besides Raw, man, it was just, I think another pop everybody got was when Elias got run over by Braun Strowman coming out.
That was pretty cool.
It was hilarious. But other than that, I'm glad there were free tickets. I mean,
you know what? I take that back. I did watch the main event. I thought Braun and Finn Balor had a great match. It was a good match, though. It was pretty solid.
It's it complements Braun to where you need to have that, David versus Goliath kind of a match. You need, Braun's going to win kind of thing, but I want to see what David does to Goliath in a way.
Yeah, they made him work for it. It almost reminded me of AJ Styles versus Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, and it could be foreshadowing, too.
Yeah, could Finn Balor really pull this one off?
Yep.
And for a second there, you almost thought that he did, and of course you're going to have the big guy win.
And I like how they're keeping that, though. He's not a fucking Big Show, where Big Show would just lose to anybody. Keep the monster, let him lose on occasion. It has to be holy shit, he lost. Andre the Giant, holy cow, it's like he lost. Keep him a monster. Don't just make him fucking job out to anybody. And,
They're being very careful with him, though.
Yeah.
In a sense where they're not trying. They're like, this is the big guy that Vince likes. I mean, not as much as Roman, but you might have to go there.
Yep.
Are people eventually going to be like, yeah, why are you cramming Braun Strowman down our throats now?
And I tried even doing some of that Instagram Live. If you guys follow us on Instagram on the Wrestling Podcast. So I can't hear. It's so loud in there. And then I invited Cooter on because you can invite somebody to share your video. And I didn't know what it was going to do. I honestly, I'm not sure exactly what you said, but I know I had to cancel the video at a certain point just in case. But
I was sitting on the toilet taking a shit. I was literally sitting on the bowl, and I'm like, Credo, what's going on, bro? I'm taking a shit. Are you enjoying Raw? Oh my God, it's just, and that was, I'm telling you, that was a bad one. I made chili on Sunday, and man, there were so many jalapenos in there. The baby wipes were on deck, my friend. Believe me.
Oh man. So
yeah, it was just coming from the back, not from the front.
We're definitely gonna have to do that more for our Instagram followers. But Cooter, a lot of shit's happening. Let's just talk about some other things happening in the news besides how awesome Raw was. Now, a lot of deals were made this week. One report to where I'm not too familiar with it, but UFC signed with ESPN, a lot of their shows, but also another big one is Smackdown signed with Fox. So just a little info onto this. ESPN reported that the two sides have agreed in principle to what is described as a massive offer from the Fox network. The deal wouldn't go in effect till October 2019. But NBCU declined to renew the deal for SmackDown Live in an effort to retain Monday Night Raw, which is, if you're going to retain fucking one show, just keep the other. But anyway, according to The Wrap, the deal is for Fox Broadcast Network and not Fox Sports 1. They also claim that their show will be moving to Friday nights, and the new 5-year deal is worth $205 million annually, equaling more than $1 billion overall. So SmackDown going to Fox. First time ever for WWE on Fox, I believe. What do you think about that? A lot of money. And just for SmackDown.
Oh, my God. $205 million annually. That's some serious fuck money. I wasn't very familiar with the UFC deal that the UFC got from Fox. But in chatting with Mike, he was like, dude, it buries the deal that UFC got, and UFC was giving them programming on multiple fucking channels. You know, this is one fucking 2-hour show a week. I don't know if they're getting other programming outside of SmackDown, but dude, you had all these fight cards on Fox and Fox Sports 1 and Fox Sports 2. You had The Ultimate Fighter. You have all the Fight Night cards. It's just like nonstop UFC all over the fucking place. And for a 2-hour show, it just fails in comparison to the deal they got. Apparently, they got a pretty good deal with ESPN, which I think is a better move for UFC anyway, just because UFC is a legit sport and it's going to a more recognizable sports network. I mean, Fox, they don't have the greatest sports network. They're really trying to push it. They're trying to do the right thing. I mean, Fox Sports is nowhere near as popular as Fox News, Credo. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you. And I remember the days of coming home from school and watching the MSG network, and they would have like live, or not live, but old taped matches from Madison Square Garden on there, and they would just show it. And I loved seeing that, to where, you know, kind of put it, you know, you didn't have to have the live commentary like a big show. Like, it was a house show on MSG, and I love that. And I think, you know, it'd be cool for it to be on ESPN, but I think UFC on ESPN will definitely be awesome, just legitimizing it to, you know, to where it's definitely a lot more real than the WWE is. So, I mean, good luck for both of them. But I mean, Fox on SmackDown, maybe we'll think they'll get 3 hours out of SmackDown in a year or so.
I hope not. I really hope it stays
much
2 hours. It's just too much.
There goes your Friday night.
But here's the interesting thing. What happens to 205 Live? Does 205 Live move and stays on the network on a Friday? You know, what happens with that? I mean, and how are we going to do this fucking podcast now that fucking
splitting the week?
What are we supposed to tape on fucking Saturdays now because we got to watch all these shows? But it's kind of nice because it really spreads it out.
Yeah.
I mean, you have
it's 2 days in a row. It's like a lot of time, man.
Yeah, I have 2 days to watch Raw, and then NXT in the middle of the week's only an hour, and then you can end the week with a 2-hour fucking SmackDown. And whatever happens with 205 Live I think it's nice because I think it's just too much at the beginning of the week, and then God forbid you get a fucking pay-per-view. Oh my God, you just want to put a gun in your mouth. But we only get one. Speaking of pay-per-views, let's talk about that, Credo.
All right.
Now the pay-per-views are actually alleged to be going to be longer now, 4 hours, and they're going to start at 7 p.m. And the big four are going to be 5 hours, allegedly. This is what I read, also starting at 7.
There has to be some kind of balance in the system. You know, there needs some balance in the force to where, yes, I understand that having both shows on there, you know, more star power, more butts in the seats, if you will, just more things to see. But at the same time, it's not like everyone wins a trophy. I don't think everybody needs to be on every pay-per-view, so they really need to balance it out. I know you mentioned it a few times to where if this pay-per-view is having a Universal Championship match, don't have a WWE Championship match. You know what I mean? So, like, balance it out every month, and if they do that, I think it'll work well. But, man, I'll tell you, they don't need everybody to have a match on there, so I hope they really balance it out. And because then what makes WrestleMania or Royal Rumble or Survivor Series even special? Because are we going to – I know those are already, 6 hours, 7 hours now from, like, you got to start it on a Saturday afternoon and for the pre-show. So it's like they need to differentiate between the B pay-per-views and then, you know, their money makers, and not just by slapping on 2 hours or another hour doesn't make it special. So they really gotta. It's
really
getting
to be too much. And it's getting to be too much because what? WrestleMania is in April. Ladies and gentlemen, the pre-show is now starting. Dude, it's January 2nd. What are you doing?
I know.
What the fuck?
So that's a lot of time, man. You know, so it's a lot of hours, and don't make it special just by adding like, oh, it's an hour, you know, longer than the other pay-per-views, and it's like, all right. It's a shift at work. We always joke about it. It's like I gotta go sit down for fucking 8 hours and watch another. Like, trust me, we love wrestling. We're talking about it on a wrestling podcast, but at the same time, it's like just because it's longer doesn't means it's better. So
that's what she said.
I know that was it's tough to get out there, but anyway, a lot of things happen with that. The Fox going over there should be interesting. Enzo Amore, Cooter, is kind of back in the spotlight. And you know, it all happened last week. I think when our power stuff went out. But you know, they confirmed that the police dropped the investigation into his sexual assault allegations. The lawyer released a statement. I'm not going to read it. Just Google it. But you know, he was pretty much he was released from the WWE not because of the incident, but because he failed to alert the higher ups in the company before the investigation was made public. So he kind of screwed himself. But he's been putting out there that, you know, he's going to be showing up in Times Square Memorial Day this weekend to thank his fans at like 9 p.m. or it's some weird thing. But what do you think about this? Enzo Amore coming out to just, you know, say hi to fans. I don't know if he's been posting photos. It looks like he's going to drop an album, kind of like John Cena-esque rap. I don't know what he's doing.
Credo, did you get tickets for NXT for Brooklyn?
No, I didn't.
That's how much I care about Enzo Amore, okay? I'd rather just change the subject. Honestly, like, I feel bad for the guy. I really do. I think he was a talented guy on the mic, could hold his own and have a decent match in the ring. But, you know, there's just something about him that, like... and I don't want to be that guy. It's like, oh, well, you know, he doesn't do the flips and flops and the fucking, you know, the dives and all that bullshit. He's good at what he does.
Yeah, he's good on the mic.
He's good on the mic. Dude, you should have just. He would have been great as a manager for somebody. Not to say that he can't go in the ring. He can take some bumps.
Yeah, for sure.
Whatever. But you know, for something like this that happened to him, when you're accused of something like this by some fucking wackadoo. Because I remember following this when it first went down.
Yeah, and this
this girl was a fucking psychopath to the point where, like, you're reading text messages from a guy who knows her, who's bragging about sleeping with him, like, willingly. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? How is you saying all this shit like, oh, I'm sleeping with this guy, I did this, I did that, dude? You're bragging. I'm like, I can't even pay attention. This poor motherfucker lost his job because some fucking bitch, and that's the problem with just society in general today, because this is the kind of shit that goes on. You know, an accusation, just the accusation costs you something.
Morgan Freeman was accused today of sexually harassing women. Morgan Freeman. The world is not safe from 2018, Cooter. The world is not safe if Morgan Freeman's going in.
You know what? And here's the funny thing. You know, Bill Cosby was like the first like major name that came out with this whole like Me Too thing.
Yep.
And like as more and more people came out, it just got worse. So like Bill's probably thinking, thank God I was like first.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? Like, granted, I mean, now he's probably going to jail or whatever and all this shit, but it's like,
well, back to Amore really quick though. For somebody who is accused of raping somebody, now. He didn't do it. Maybe he did do it. I don't know. It's one of those things. Whatever. He was accused of rape. To come back out and make this kind of public appearance, do you think he should probably ease his way back into the spotlight, or is coming out on Memorial Day an appearance at 9:15 p.m. And he says he'll end his science for one big "How you doing"? Do you think that's right after being accused of rape, or is it too overboard?
If he's like cleared of it and the cops, here's the thing. I mean, this could be good and it could be bad. This could be some publicity stunt. You don't know. He might be going back to WWE. You don't know.
I know.
I don't know what the idea is behind all of this shit. I mean, it's interesting, but like, I'm not going to be sitting by my, computer or by my phone waiting to see, him hit Instagram Live. And as we're saying this, holy shit. You talk about Morgan Freeman. I just picked up my phone and I have like all these notifications. In case you missed this tweet from Virgil, I'm like, really? To think that in my lifetime I would be respected more than Bill Cosby and Morgan Freeman. Literally, as we're talking about this came across my screen.
Can't beat live.
That's fucking hilarious, dude.
Oh, man.
I feel bad for the guy because, it is what it is. But I'm not crying for Enzo Amore. It's not like he's the greatest fucking wrestler that ever lived. He was a talented guy who got, the shit end of the stick. I hope it all works out well, works well for him, but I'm not too anxious to see you back on fucking Raw or Smackdown, bro. And if your rap album is as good as your theme song is, I mean that shit's gonna be brick.
There you go. Well, how about this? All In is going to be happening. Just last week, they sold out in under 30 minutes. Well, let me tell you a little story real quick. It was after months of speculation about whether a self-financed 10,000-seat event put on by the Young Bucks and Cody Rhodes could sell out. We finally have our answer, and it says tickets went on sale last week. Took around just about 30 minutes for All In, the Sears Center Arena in Chicago, which is a capacity of 11,800 people, to be considered a sellout. But there's no word exact number of tickets sold as of yet. And this all happened because 1 year ago, Dave Meltzer tweeted saying Ring of Honor wouldn't be able to sell out a 10,000-seat plus arena anytime soon. And the Young Bucks and Cody, they started to put their plans together for the event, and as soon as it was announced, they have people going there like Okada, Deonna Purrazzo, Pentagon Jr., Rey Fenix, Stephen Amell, Rey Mysterio, a lot of other things happening there. But Cooter, one thing about this is that I saw some of the ticket prices, ringside, 125 or more. For this kind of event, is it worth the price of admission? Especially now if there's scalpers that probably are going to boost those tickets up to like 500, and it's not even going to be televised as of now. No word on if they're going to even be filming it. Cody said there's no plan of it right now to even film, to broadcast or stream it or whatever. To me, I'm not dropping that much money. I feel like I've seen all these guys. I feel like something big has to, they really need to have a big surprise there, and a lot of people are saying CM Punk. We'll see what that happens. But even if he just appears, do you think it's worth the event or what? Tell me a little bit about this All In. And do you think at the end of the day it's good for business? Because I think NXT TakeOver is having a hard time selling out Chicago right now as it is. So
how strange is that?
NXT can't sell out, but these guys,
what?
Just from the hype, right?
The fact that they're selling this thing out, good for them. I mean, outside of Vince McMahon, who in the last 10 years is selling out arenas like that for professional wrestling? Nobody.
Yeah.
Like this is a big fuck you to one of the biggest smart marks ever, Dave Meltzer. Dave, thank you, because your big mouth is making history. Would I pay like $125 for ringside? Absolutely. I really would, because that's a historical thing, dude. I was there at All In when nobody said that this show would sell out in this fucking building without Vince McMahon or some big machine behind it. So I applaud them. And it's not just that. You got the whole fucking star casting going on over there too.
Yeah, well, we're not.
The weekend is full of fucking
except us,
awesome
Twitter.
events.
We're not going to be there.
Listen, we're small time, bro. But the fact that
there's a lot of other small time guys going, but we're just not. We're not going. Sorry, guys.
Richard and fucking Conrad Thompson are doing their show over there. Even Tony Schiavone's podcast with Conrad Thompson is doing an event over there.
It's nice that they're embracing these shows, though, because, I mean, honestly, we're another wrestling podcast. There's thousands of them, right?
Oh, God, so many great ones. Do you listen to podcasts, outside of this one?
I tried, but then I realized I have no time for anything. So I try to get in what I can when I can, but that's what's good, though, right? I mean, to where they're treating all of us like we should be treated, if you will, to where WWE is not going to hold an event and hold us all those podcasts and shows to come out there. So it's definitely cool that they're taking that initiative and caring for the fans, because that's how they're going to sell out those arenas. I mean, I'll be surprised if they open up the arena more just to accommodate more seats.
I gotta say this, dude. I'm starting to enjoy podcasts more than WWE television lately. I mean, I like some of these guys talking about the good old days, listening to Bruce Pritchard talk on Something to Wrestle With. Even fucking Eric Bischoff's podcast is great. 83 Weeks. That's a great one. It's Conrad Thompson again, the Podfather himself. You might be the Mark Father, but he is the Podfather. And Tony Schiavone's is great too. They talk about all the old WCW pay-per-views and shows. I'm like, this shit is so much fun.
There you go.
And I'm listening to this shit when I'm at work, tugging on my pecker at the bar or whatever,
Now, how do we make our show just like that, Cooter? We can't get Conrad. We got to use what we have here.
Dude, if we could get Conrad, bro, he could make me a star. I know. You know what? I don't even think Conrad Thompson at this point could make me a star. I'm too much of a dick, dude.
Well, there's star power in you, kid. There's star power in you, kid. I see it.
You used to be hungry. You used to be a contender. You wanted to be the champ. You haven't been hungry since main event marks.
Inside. I'll tell you though, they definitely need to stream the show. Like on fuck Twitch. I'm sick of hearing about Twitch, but I mean, what was that? Is that other thing that was still up there? Remember they had it was like Fight. Or no, the Fight Nets are
FightTV.go.
Fight TV, and then that other one that had something there. I don't know. They definitely need to stream it. Hell, fucking do a Facebook Live video or something.
You'll think they'll defend the Twitch title?
Don't even get me started with that. But a lot of other things happening. Really quick, Goldust. He's actually celebrating 10 years of sobriety, and if you've never watched wrestling before and you had no idea who Goldust is, you probably wouldn't believe that he's actually sober from his gimmick that he's had through the years. But at 49 years old and over a 23-year-old career, Cooter, 10 years sober. Good for Goldust.
I know. It's crazy because not too long ago I listened to Bruce Pritchard's episode about Goldust from his start of the character. And it just choreographs everything like throughout his career. Every time he was hired, rehired, fired for every reason. I mean, this guy is he's got one of the craziest stories where he's always falling apart, but always finding a way to put himself back together again. And, I don't remember how many years ago, but there was that 1 year ago, not too long ago, they put him back on television. And I wouldn't say he was featured, but he was getting a pretty good amount of TV time. And at that point, you figure he had to be like, obviously in his mid to early 40s. It was probably the best run of his career, and good for him. He worked his ass off, 10 years of sobriety. Congrats, dude. Just keep it going, man. That's fantastic.
No, for sure. And a little shout out too. I just want to let everybody know. You can also hear me on Cigars, Scars, and Superstars with Terry Runnels, where she talks a lot about her career and her family with her daughter Dakota Runnels. I do some headlines on there. I do some news for them.
She actually put you on the air?
She put me on the air, Cooter, so I'm in. I'm in
really?
with Marlena.
Maybe you are over. Fuck, dude. You are over again.
That's it. But a little
and here
shout
I
out
am doing this shitty podcast.
Hey, man. 3 years strong. We've been going pretty strong. So
my mom's more over than me, for Christ's sake, on this fucking thing.
The Angry Mom. If you haven't heard, check out all the other shows. But hey, let's get right into it. Before our guest doesn't want to even show up, we got Brian Pillman Jr. on the show right now. All right, joining us today is a second-generation superstar, Brian Pillman Jr. Brian, man, thanks for joining us today. How's everything going?
Oh, things are going great, brother. How are you doing?
Doing good. Now, I've seen you in the news. I've seen you for the past few years, up and coming. You're following your dad's footsteps. You're in the wrestling business. You haven't been there too long, but you're there, and you're making your name for yourself. You're following your dad's footsteps. But let me just get right into it. A lot of people may not know it, but you were only 4 years old. I know it's hard, especially being that young, but do you have any early memories about your dad wrestling, or maybe even when you realized at an older age what he did? Anything you want to share with us about that?
When I was younger, I didn't see a lot because my memory wasn't as formed. So when he was alive, it wasn't as much that I remember. But, it's looking back on his career. So, like, when I was a kid, I maybe remember the most iconic moment for me was when he was getting beat up in a dress or whatever, like they did a dress match, and I was a kid, and I was like, no, like my dad would never wear a dress and all that, getting all worked up. But as far as getting older and looking back, it wasn't until I really got in the business that I started to realize and really double down on my research on my own father, and just be like, really, this is all his body of work. These are the things that he's done and contributed to this business. I'm like, holy shit, it almost just blows up in your face. Like, this is what this is the act I have to follow. You know what I'm saying?
No, sure. And did you know right away that you wanted to follow in his footsteps and wrestle, or at what point did you realize, wow, I really want to do this?
Yeah, it was a struggle, growing up and stuff. I wasn't always able to focus on that right away. I needed to get my life in order and get ready to survive, if all else fails. So I wasn't focused on wrestling growing up, but as I got older, I realized, and got a good head on my shoulders, realized that I could actually give a go at this, and that I am a very, athletic and good-looking kid that's built for the job. So I'm falling in love with it more and more every day, But like growing up, I was worried more about finishing school and like trying to get on my feet,
Sure.
So
Yeah. No, definitely.
it's really cool, like getting to revisit everything now.
No, yeah, definitely. And now, started wrestling. Wrestled at Storm Wrestling Academy in Canada with Lance Storm. Can you tell us a little bit about how you just landed with him up there?
Yeah, so I thought it was just sort of a cool story to say, my dad trained in Calgary, I should do that too. But it was actually, it wasn't until I had already found out about Lance's school being one of the top schools in the country, on the continent, that I was like, well, it's just fitting, So I had already found out Lance's school before I decided, that'd be perfect.
Sure. How is it working with Lance and his school? He's not cutting you any breaks, though. I mean, you guys are definitely getting right into it, and he's produced a lot of wrestlers out of that school that have made it far in the business. So he's definitely knows what he's doing up there.
Oh yeah, it's definitely the best place to get started. Just because he treats everybody fairly. He gives everybody the best like beginner move set that you need just to have a match with anybody. You know what I mean? Like the standard, classic, everything.
Mm-hmm.
But he throws in his own, he throws in a few little mix-in moves, a few different things that people and other trainees might not have learned. And he makes you a well-rounded just for every situation, So that was the cool part about training with him. But he also limited what we could do. We weren't allowed to do a lot of things. So there was that aspect of it, the creativity that went into, when you're putting matches together, you had to be sure not to do something that he would consider too risky to do in training and stuff like that. So, but we worked around it, and it was a great time up there.
No, nice, definitely. And I also know you were mentored by former OVW heavyweight champion Rip Rogers. What was it like working with him too?
Oh yeah, Rip's one whole different beast. He's very practice, and Lance's philosophy is more of, get your practice in and then get your real experience on the shows, So they got two different philosophies on that, but it's back in Rip's day. They worked 7 nights a week, so it was a different ball game. It comes from different generations, but it was interesting to see the different points of view. For the most part, they both agree on just about everything, but Lance is a little bit more new age, a little bit more indie than Rip. So
yeah, definitely. Now, starting up as a new wrestler, what do you think is probably the hardest thing for new wrestlers? Just I know you mentioned at one point just where everybody's trained in different styles, and now you're all coming together to clash with each other. Do you think that's still probably the hardest part of being a new wrestler, just learning everybody's style in a way?
Yeah, I think especially like you said on the indie scene today, everybody's like, you got somebody who's a fucking lizard man and he does lizard man moves, and then you got somebody there fucking Muay Thai that do their Muay Thai moves. So you just gotta, you always gotta learn and keep your eyes and ears open and your mouth shut, and just try to get along with everybody, and also try to innovate yourself and create some different styles that maybe some people haven't seen before or would like to work with. But it's definitely the Wild West out there right now as far as the indie scene and just people getting over in different ways. So it's like anything will work, and if it gets over, it gets over.
Sure, definitely. Now, I mean, growing up, you watched what your dad did, and then just wanting to be a wrestler, getting into wrestling, getting into the business. I mean, did it have kind of like a mentality in you as like, oh, this is easy, I could do it, and then when you start doing it, it's like, it's not that it's not easy, but it's like, wow, maybe was it a lot more work in your mind than what you thought it was, or did you always know that?
Yeah, I think everybody that gets into wrestling realizes it's way harder than it looks. And that's just the general public of people that I talk to, they don't think it's that difficult, you know what I mean? And I think it's just a stigma that they don't realize that it's probably one of the most punishing taxing sports in the world. You know what I mean? So it's like, but they think, oh, it's fake, but they don't realize the damage that we're dealing and the work that people are putting in to put on a good product. You know what I mean? So the sacrifices and all that. But yeah, I mean, I definitely was like, oh, I could do that. And then you get that reality call that, oh shit, this is just like fucking football or basketball or anything. You got to be the best. You know what I mean? So it's definitely just a process. I definitely still think my natural abilities are still there and in place, but it, just like with anything in life, it looks easier than it really is. You know what I'm saying?
No, definitely. Now, for you though, what is it like to live up to your dad's name, living up to that legacy? Because I mean, for me, my dad's not a wrestler, so if I did it, it's whatever. But for you, I mean, just doing what your dad did, following in his footsteps, how is it to you? Does it make you nervous, excited, or just because it's like your dad did this, he did amazing. Now I'm starting out. I don't want to like fail, kind of a thing. I mean, what's in your head just going through this and just trying to live up to his name?
It's a lot of pressure for sure. It does, especially coming through the gate. And if you just got to look at the times now. Today there's a camera everywhere. Everybody's got a camera on their fucking belt buckle in their back pocket. Everybody's got a camera. There's a camera. Every promotion has a TV set up. They can stream it to Facebook. Anybody can see anything they want at any time. So I think people are maybe just conditioned to see wrestling in a different light these days, where back then the business was so protected that for all the, for every match, it had to be like, okay, this has to be simple, basic, and like perfect, because, if we expose this business, then all our money's down the drain. You know what I'm saying? So it's a whole different philosophy on wrestling. So, you don't see the old clips of my dad back when he was green. You know what I mean? Like, sure you do, but you don't see like the older stuff, when he was first starting out. So I think there's just a lot of added pressure on me, just thinking, oh, I'm going to be this good, because back then they put you on TV, you had to be the best of the best. Nowadays, you're basically on TV with social media and everything all the time. So it's like, they can't expect me to just be like, oh, TV ready. You know what I'm saying? So it's just the world of media and just the way this art has evolved. There's definitely a very different atmosphere and expectation to the sport, where at the same time back then it was there's a lot of weird, hokey, different expectations. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
The sport has just evolved in a way, is all I'm saying.
No, for sure. And now for like second generation, third generation wrestlers, superstars, for some guys like in the WWE right now, for example, one of the things I always talk with my friends about is like Curtis Axel, for example, to where,
yeah.
Honestly, I would have done the Mr. Perfect gimmick. I would have followed in my dad's footsteps to be Mr. Perfect again and just kind of put my own twist on it. And don't get me wrong, I understand that, making a name for yourself, doing something a little bit different, but at the same time, man, for me, I love when third or second generation, third generation, whatever, kind of, still do what their dad did or mom did or whatnot, to where
it's good. Yeah.
I would have loved for him to be just.
I don't think they let him do that though.
I know.
Yeah.
But just in my mind, I'm like, man, I feel like that would be just so perfect just to do that.
Yeah.
But how do you feel too? I mean, because just being the son of the loose cannon, flying Brian Pillman, just coming in as Brian Pillman Jr. or the second. I know there's still years from now, anything could change to change up your character, but I mean, just coming in as Brian Pillman, I mean, I love it. I love that you're using just not changing your name, if you will, not changing it to be something else.
And at the end of the day, like, that's my name. You know what I mean? They can say what they want about me and my matches and my promos, but at the end of the day, they can't take away, who I am and what I stand for and things like that. So it's like, anything that I evolve into, whatever my character is, whether it bears likeness to my father or not. My father had, 5 and 6, different versions that he went through in his career over his 11 or 12-year career. And, who's to say I'm not going to have 8 or 9, you know what I mean? So if I bear likeness to him on some version of myself, then that's purely, just part of the ball game. So I just think it's a part of who I am, and I can't take it away. So I'm not ever trying to imitate or copy him or use his moves. You know what I mean? Like, I got my own style of wrestling, but at the end of the day, we're both trained in Calgary, and we have, we're going to have a lot of likenesses to each other as far as our build and our style.
I love it, man. I think it's great. I love what you're doing. Something else funny came along, though, because everybody's on social media, Twitter, Facebook, whatever. You tweeted out a little while ago, I think in February, that rest in peace is my first kiddie pool, and it was going back to on Monday Night Raw where Stone Cold attacked your dad at your home, and then you had a little bit of a Twitter interaction with Steve Austin himself, to where he commented, young man, I was just taking care of business. I did what I had to do, and he apologized for damaging your swimming pool. I thought that was hilarious. Have you talked to anybody else, maybe that your dad knew just growing up? Any fun stories that they've told you? Just what do you think about hearing about different stories, I guess, from other wrestlers too about your dad who he worked with?
Oh, just every now and then, you show up at an indie show, an animal will be at the show, or a guy like Ken Shamrock when you show up at WrestleCon and you see guys like that, and they always tell you a funny, it's always a funny story, and sometimes they intersect, and sometimes guys that were in the business that I wouldn't have guessed were actually, you know what I mean, like wrestlers that you wouldn't have thought were like really cool with them, and then they tell you, this, that, and the other, and but it's really cool. And I especially like seeing like how the younger guys that like came after him were inspired by him, guys like Shad Gaspard and stuff like that, the younger guys, and it's just cool. It's like everything's a family. You know how it is. Wrestling's a family, and when you're in it, it's like they never fucking throw you out. You know what I mean? Yep. The boys got your back at the end of the day, and I've talked to Joe a lot, Curtis, Axel, talked to him a lot on the phone. We text back and forth and stuff, and so I'm in touch. Like the second generation guys, they all stay in touch. It's kind of like a secret little cult group, but I've said enough. So
that's good. I mean, for you to just get any feedback too. I mean, it's nice that we could just reach out with each other these days from just texting or calling or whatnot. Do you ask a lot of questions to some of these guys, maybe on just the direction you should probably take at such an early stage in your career, kind of a thing?
Yeah, a lot of different guys at different times. I have a pretty good network of mentors. Sometimes it's a bit overwhelming, but I just got done talking to Nick Dinsmore, Eugene, and he was talking to me about my knee because he ruptured his patella, I believe, in 2005. Mm-hmm. So he's telling me how I'm supposed to rehab this PCL and stuff. So it's just great to be blessed to have all those guys that have my back. You know what I mean?
For sure. I could probably talk to you all day, Brian, but for the fans listening out there, how can they keep up with you on social media, and maybe where can they see you next coming up in the next few weeks maybe?
Yeah, so this weekend is actually, I'll be in Circleville, Ohio, for Bobby Fulton's last wrestling match of his career. He's going to be retiring, the fantastic Bobby Fulton. So I'll be making an appearance there, signing autographs and selling T-shirts and anything you guys want. But follow me on Twitter at Flying Brian Jr., Instagram at Flying Brian 41.
Awesome. Well, Brian, thank you so much for taking time out tonight, and hopefully we'll see you up here in the Northeast in our backyard sometime soon. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, brother.
All right, Cooter. For everybody listening out there, once again, thanks again for Brian Pillman Jr. We wish him nothing but the best, and we hope to see him up here very soon in the Northeast. But we have a pro wrestling T-shirt. We're on anotherwrestlingpodcast.com. You can find out all of our links. But if you go to prowrestlingtees.com/anotherwrestlingpodcast, we got a bunch of shirts on there. If you buy a shirt, you support the show. Help support us. They're not that much, and you guys spend a lot of money on other shit anyway. So hey, buy a T-shirt. Help us out. But Cooter, man, your angry club shirt is flying off the shelves on Redbubble.
Can you believe this? This is fucking hilarious, dude.
Now, what's good about this is that a lot of people don't know is that we actually submitted this shirt to Pro Wrestling Tees, and I got a pretty much our own cease and desist letter from Pro Wrestling Tees saying that they can't make any more parody Bullet Club shirts because I guess everybody wanted their own fucking Bullet Club shirt. So I was like, fine, fuck you. I'm going to bring that design over to Redbubble. So shout out to Redbubble. It's more complicated. If you go to Redbubble, if you search for Angry Club or if you search for Steve Credo, my name, you should find it. We'll put the links on all our social media. But Cooterman, Pro Wrestling Tees could have had a moneymaker on
That's right.
them.
Yeah, fuck you, Pro Wrestling Tees. You could have had the big seller, goddammit. All in my fucking town where I work, people are buying these tank tops and these T-shirts. It's just fucking hilarious. And people are coming up to me. How come we never see you wear your own shirt? I was like, what the fuck do I look like a mark for myself? Do I look like Matt Hardy? Like, no, dude, no. Thank you for everybody for buying these goddamn shirts. It really helps knock down some of the cost for this fucking show. And I don't have Credo calling me up. Dude, I need money for the website.
We're going off the air.
I need money for the Podbean uploading. Bro, I need money. Fucking great. Let's pass it off to the consumer. Nothing is really free. So buy these shirts and stop Credo from harassing me for money.
Please. I have children.
He's got kids to feed, and I've got beers to buy. I can't be spending money on websites and podcasting uploading.
We definitely, so yeah, Pro Wrestling Tees. We got a lot of stuff on there. Redbubble, the Angry Club shirt is selling amazingly well. So fuck you, Pro Wrestling Tees, for not giving us our own Angry Club shirt on your store.
I'm literally, I want to throw an event at a bar with this fucking shirt.
Yes.
I want ladies to buy this tank top.
You're not thinking like a wet Angry Club T-shirt contest, are you?
Pretty much, but without the water. Let's just see whose breastises looks the best in one of these female tank tops. Personally, like to invite Charlotte Flair, now that she got those things fixed, to maybe participate in the contest. If we throw this, I would even throw out a $500 prize out of my money.
Look at this guy.
I would do this if I could get enough people. The only thing is,
wow, it's happening now this summer.
You gotta buy the shirt.
No, that's it, guys. Gotta buy the shirt. Links are on everything from anotherwrestlingpodcast.com. Help support the show. We're not asking for $1,000. It's like
exactly
$20 or less. It's a T-shirt. Come on.
You're fucked up. No one's gonna want to have a wet Angry Club T-shirt contest. What the fuck is wrong with me? And you actually think I would shell out $500? You're crazy. No, I probably would. I mean, there's some lovely. Never mind.
We'll see ya next week.
Bitches.
So Credo got 2 free tickets to Raw and didn't bring you or Mike? Do you think that's why Mike missed the show?
No, Ma. Mike's not like you. He doesn't think the fucking world revolves around him.
Listen, if he keeps missing shows, Credo's gonna have to replace him with the host of Steve's Wrestling Ramble.
Isn't that the one who fired you on your first night after the Superstar shakeup?
Fuck you.